on, guys? Larry here in the beautiful resort town of Eden Prairie, Minnesota. It's not really a resort town. Please don't book any vacations and blame me when you come here and it sucks. But no, I'm happy to be here. Today we are going to train arms, all right? You're trying to get big Ghettoblaster arms, right? You walk down the street and the first thing that people see is your arm development, and everything else either developed a little bit more within reason. That's what we're after today. So what do I look for when I'm constructing the arm routine, when I'm giving an arm routine out? Number one, I'm looking for the variety of movements, okay? Especially as I approach older age and I'm firmly in the grasp of middle age. I find myself telling people around my age and sometimes even younger, hey, don't really go to the barbell lifts. They're fun to do. They should be a part of your training sometimes, but you don't necessarily have to do them. But we're going to do them today because I like doing them. Again, the enjoyment factor that I spoke about last week. Now, number two, I look toward what we're trying to do. And that changes per session, right? Today will probably be more of a medium volume session, a little bit heavier weight, probably a little bit lower rep on some movements. So I'm looking to get in and out of the gym within about 45 minutes to an hour. So that's not a lot of, it's not a lot of time, at least for how I like to train. But we're going to do it today, and we're going to pick movements that, again, hit the largest part of the muscle and leave it really fatigued, hit some deep fibers, hit some surface fibers, and then we'll go on from there. So nothing more to be said. Let's get to work. Let's have some fun, and let's build some big ass pipes. All right? Here we go.
All right, as is standard fare with me, I'm going to warm up with some high rep tricep press downs. So with that being said, I like to use a rope attachment, right? And I think you guys should too. When you use a rope attachment, you're able to spread the handles out at the bottom and twist them a little bit. That'll hit that lateral head of the tricep and the top of the tricep as well, seeing that the tris are three heads. You want to try to maximize all of their development. So that's what I like to do. So when I tell people, hey, you should use a rope, that's where I'm coming from as far as having you all choose a rope to use for your attachments. Now, also keep in mind, my reps are steady and continuous tension. You don't have to do it like that. You can absolutely emphasize the eccentric as well. That works as well. And the last thing that I want to, for you guys to understand, is I've been starting to do these more in the 15 to 20, 25 to 30 rep range. So my triceps are already really pumped and kind of exhausted by the time I get to my compound exercises, but that's okay because I'm really just trying to grease the groove. And I think that's something as older trainees we need to do, especially as we transition into these winter months, is that we need to grease the grooves more in our training before we get to a lot of the heavy compound stuff, like what you see here. I'm setting up for a close grip bench press. If your tris are warm, if your elbows are warm, the likelihood of you having a phenomenal, at least tricep portion of an arm workout is going to go very, very, very well. If you don't, then the chances of you having a really good workout are going to go very, very, very bad. So I am a fan of high rep sets, at least on the first movement, and then subsequently we go the more moderate route. Now, as far as volume goes, you all know that for arms, I am a fan of volume training, whether it's 15 sets for biceps or triceps each, or 1,000 rep arm days, or something along those lines. You know, I am a volume guy when it comes to arm building. I think they benefit the most from volume, seeing as that you're pounding them when you're training chest or back. So not having to go very heavy and then doing just moderate style movements and movement variations like what you see here with the close grip bench press with the shoulder pad, those type of movements and those volumes do work. But today I wasn't really feeling it that well. or rather the day that this video was filmed, I wasn't really feeling it. So I opted to go a little bit heavier than I've normally been going and work within a certain rep range. So the volume today was around about 3 sets each movement for biceps and triceps, but the reps, at least for some of the more heavier stuff, the more compound stuff, ended up being around about, I think the lowest I went was 5, which is really low for arms and something that I don't generally do. But I needed a bit of a different stimulus because I had just been slamming a lot of volume on my arms, and I've just been trying to just really pump them up to a huge point where the blood and the pump is just absolutely ridiculous inside of my arms. But today I decided to go a little bit heavier and really just push not necessarily the volume, but more of the weight, try to get into the double-digit ranges. When you sit down and you take stock of your training, I want you to start taking stock of the rep ranges. If you've been working in a certain rep range for a while, it's absolutely fine to go in and do a completely different rep range. Now, you may have to use a bit lighter weight, but that's okay. You don't have to necessarily just go balls out heavy all the time. I don't even like doing that. And I'm not the strongest bodybuilder in the world. You know, I'm strong for my size. But to be quite honest with you, I'm not that strong, at least not now. Seeing as that, again, I'm firmly in middle age. So I try to do weights that are manageable. I thought I was going to get 10 with this weight for my tricep extension / bootleg JM press, but it didn't work out that way. Now, here's something that I don't normally do. I don't normally do extensions. I just don't, because they put a lot of pressure on my shoulder. But the Smith machine kind of worked out. And I took a shoulder width grip. I didn't go very wide, or very close rather. And I was trying to keep the bar in line with my eyes. So it looks like I'm pressing, but it's kind of a press extension combo. It's really weird. One day I'm going to do it and I'm going to show you. John Meadows would probably shit a brick if he saw me doing those like that. So I apologize, John, wherever you're at. But don't chastise me, please. So moving on to biceps. Heavy barbell curls were on the menu, but first, we don't go into any exercise like that cold. So what we do is that we warm up on a machine. We get some really good reps going. These were in the double digits. And again, just really want to pump the arm up before we get to the nitty gritty of the barbell curls. Now, something that I like to do and something that I like to imagine is that sometimes I like to keep my head down and try to pull. I imagine pulling the handles behind my head. That's not going to work for every machine. That didn't work for this one, and I didn't expect it to. But the sentiment is still the same. Aim for a very strong peak contraction. Really aim to get blood up in the muscle, and then once that happens, you'll be able to be warmed up for the next exercise. As you can see, the easy curl bar is waiting to be used. So that's really all it is for arms. You know, with this body part too, you have to go in with the attitude is that I'm trying to build the biggest pair of arms possible. You know, visualization is a very strong thing, and I don't think people use that enough. You have to be able to visualize your arms being bigger than anything that you've ever seen before. If it worked for Arnold Schwarzenegger, it can work for you. You just have to have that mindset of, I'm going to get this done. I'm going to work very hard, and I'm going to do everything I need to do to support this mission of me having big ass pipes outside of my shirt. So if that's something that you're already doing and it's working, please continue to do it. If that's something that you're not doing, then you need to start imagining your best self and go ahead and apply that to your workout. So a couple of heavy sets here, and normally I don't go this heavy on barbell curls, but I did it with an easy curl bar this time because, hell, if low reps were good for Dorian Yates' biceps, then they're good enough for mine. And we all saw the size that Dorian Yates got to on his way to win a record number of Olympias. So trying to minimize the body swing. Obviously, there's a little bit of body English in there, But we got 125 pounds that we're curling up, and that proves to be a little bit difficult, if you know what I mean. And this last exercise is a stretching movement. Much like the extension, you want to get something that's going to stretch that body part out, and that's what I did with this exercise. I just sat on the bench and I let my arms just come behind me and get a nice full stretch. So really nothing fancy. If you have the opportunity to do this exercise, I suggest that you all do it. But also keep in mind, you cannot go heavy on this exercise. This is very, very much an isolation movement. And if you try to go too heavy, you will screw yourself up. So I used about 20 pounds here just to get the blood in there, just to get the stretch. And here is where I kind of deviated from the rest of the workout. I only did 2 sets because at that point I had whacked back previous. My biceps were still tired. So no reason to go through hell with it again. So there we go, guys. A good arm day. I hope you all followed that. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. Like and subscribe to the channel. Website coming back soon. Programs for sale, all that good stuff. But until then, y'all have a great night.